everybody. My name is Angie Morenga. You're watching Just Angie, where we have the most amazing conversations. I love the conversations that we have on Just Angie and that have been having. Happy belated Mashujaa Day. It's just gone by. And I was just thinking my next guest is really a Mashujaa. You know how you have to celebrate your heroes? She really is a hero because of the things that she's been through, and she's here to talk about them. And even just the ability to be authentic and vulnerable with her experience is absolutely amazing. And so I love this woman. And Beatrice, just look into that camera and first just introduce yourself briefly to our guests.
My name is Beatrice Wahura Waithaka, and I love the Lord because of where he has taken me through, what he has taken me through, and where he's taken me through, and what I've gone through. And I am happy to be in Angie's conversation today with her. Thank you.
I'm so happy, Beatrice.
Thank you.
So the reason I brought you, I met you at Clean Start.
Yes.
I think that's why I met you, at Clean Start.
Clean Start, yeah.
And Clean Start is a social impact project that addresses and helps women to be rehabilitated from prison.
Sure.
And then, of course, I remember meeting Dr. Coffee?
Dr. Coffee.
Coffee.
Yes,
but that's
Ghana.
a very long story, so let me start at the beginning.
Very true.
So, Beatrice, how did you end up in prison?
For me, I used to be a teacher in Turkey.
What were you teaching?
I was teaching in a kindergarten school.
Really?
But I went to Turkey as a very young girl at the age of 20, immediately when I cleared my high school.
So when you cleared high school?
When I cleared high school, I didn't stay in Kenya for long. I went to Turkey with my cousin. She was married by a Ghanaian, she was married by a Turkish man.
Really?
Yes.
And so, I mean, but 20, so your cousin is married to this man?
Yes.
You're 20, so you go with her to see what opportunity. Was she already living in Turkey?
She was already living in Turkey, and she told me, instead of me being in Kenya, let me go and work there and get greener pastures so that I can also lift my family up.
And that's what we do.
Yes.
So how long had you been a teacher?
I was a teacher for almost 6 years in Turkey.
Okay.
But before then, I worked as a nanny.
In Turkey?
In Turkey.
Okay.
Before I established myself, also learning in the language of Turkish.
Okay.
And
so when you were a kindergarten teacher, you were doing it in their language, not in English?
It was in English.
It was in English.
It was in English.
Okay.
But that is, working in a kindergarten school was after I had already worked as a nanny. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you get involved? How do you find yourself in jail in Ghana?
Well, that is a long story.
But you've summarized it for us.
Yes, I'll just summarize it. After when I was working as a teacher in a kindergarten, in an international school in Turkey for almost 6 years, then I had a relationship with a Kenyan guy. We lived together there. And after living with him, things didn't turn out the way I really wanted my life to be, because he also entered into alcoholism, whereby I couldn't live in with him. Well, it reminds me back of a lot.
No, it's taking you back.
Yes, it reminds me back of a lot.
So how did you go into drugs? How did you? It was drugs. Was it drugs?
It was drugs. Yes.
So did somebody approach you?
No, that was the year 2009, December. I was on leave. I was on leave, and since by then, this guy, we were having like friction, me and him. A friend of mine approached me. A couple friend of mine approached me in Turkey, and they knew my story of how this guy is not putting me into the level that I needed, because I really tried to fight for him to stop drinking, but it couldn't work. So that 2009, that the Ghanaian lady and the Nigerian guy approached me, and they told me they can send me somewhere to go, and they can send me to Ghana, then I'll be making money. And by then I had already moved out of this guy's house, so I was living by myself. And you see, I am on leave. I have a short time to go back to work.
To school.
To go back to work. And I really needed to do things fast so that I can also show him.
I can establish myself.
I can establish myself despite of being in a bitter relationship. So that is the time now I went to Ghana.
When they told you can deliver something,
Yes.
did they tell you what it was?
The lady told me I can deliver something. It's she mentioned substance of drugs, but you know, my mind didn't go there because by then it's like they also used my leniency of the bitter anger that I had in me. So I decided, yes, I can go.
So you went.
So I went to Ghana.
Were you arrested on your first trip?
I was arrested when I was going back.
No, where? Wait first. So you arrive in Ghana. You
I
pick the drugs.
In Ghana.
They bring
I stayed
them
for
to you?
a week.
Did they bring them to you first?
The guy brought it in a hotel.
Are you bringing them from Ghana or from Ghana to Turkey?
Turkey.
So from Turkey to Ghana, uneventful. You've entered the nation.
I've entered the nation of Ghana. I've had my good time that 1 week. I've done some shopping for myself. I've filled my suitcases. My suitcase, it was one by then, before the other suitcase was brought that was having the drugs. So
the
one
other suitcase has
drugs.
One is yours, the other is...
It was brought to me.
It was brought to you.
Yes.
And you know how we're told at the airport, do not take anything? But these people had told you they're
giving me
something to bring, and you can make money, but you did not ask.
My mind didn't go there because by then, you see, I used it through my anger, through the bitterness
you're vulnerable.
I had. But,
and you're trying to prove a point.
That is the thing.
You're trying to make money.
That I was
so
trying
that I come back and establish myself
and
in
even
Turkey.
show this person, this guy, I'm okay. Let's continue moving.
Yeah. So the other bag was brought.
The other bag was brought to me in a hotel, and it was my time for me to leave. I remember it was on a Tuesday, around 1 o'clock, getting to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It was my time to leave now back to Turkey. So when I got to the airport, just as I'm going to enter, they had already taken all the suitcases. I had already checked in.
Okay.
So when I was going to get into the flight is when I was stopped, and they said, "Oh, ma'am, we want to recheck your suitcase again." I told them, no problem. By then I was like, I didn't think anything would happen because already this lady had already told me everything is okay. The couple,
how does she know everything is okay and she's not
they had already told me everything is okay.
What does that
I remember
mean?
The words. You don't worry, Beatrice, everything is okay. But when they took my suitcases, there were 3 CIDs. When they took my suitcases and they went and checked, they told me...
In your presence?
No, they just went and put me at the bay, and they told me, the flight is not going to leave you. Let us check. The flight is still waiting for you. Let us check. If you have the letter of, if you have a certificate of what you are carrying, we'll let you go. But if you don't have the certificate, you are for us. So my heart went. So when they took the suitcases, they checked and they told me one of your suitcases is okay and we know that one is for you. But the other one
is not okay.
Show us the certificate of what you are carrying.
What is the certificate?
That one, up to date, I always ask myself, I don't know. But I didn't have any paper for what I was carrying, and it was drugs. But you remember the lady, my friend had already mentioned.
Told you it's okay.
Yes, it's
so
okay.
So maybe they forgot to give somebody something. Maybe they annoyed somebody because maybe what they mean is everything is okay. I don't know.
They told me
is they have sorted out utapita too.
So I was stopped, and
my God,
they took me to one room. I remember they gave me an apple to eat. This one I'll never forget. And they told me, just calm down. So they gave me my phone because they had already taken even the phone out of my hand. They gave me my phone, told me, call your friends. If they come and show themselves up.
The couple
friend, and also the one who gave me back in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Call them. If they come and and submit themselves here, we'll let you go. But if they don't come, you are for us.
Guys, why do they keep repeating you for us? Anyway,
Hey, so when they gave me the phone, I called, all the phones were off.
No, Beatrice. Why did they knew you were caught?
I think when immediately when they saw definitely I don't know what went.
When they saw your number.
When they saw my number, they knew something had, and they had already waited maybe to call me when I get into the flight. You get me?
Oh my God, Beatrice.
So my life was stopped there. My whole life turned upside down since that moment. 2010, January 12th, around 2 o'clock, 1:30 to 2 o'clock. So my whole life changed. I was never the Beatrice I used to be. I'm alone in a foreign land. I don't know who to turn to. I don't know who to call because everybody's phone has gone off. And also the CIDs had already taken the phones away from me when I called them and they didn't pick. Because now when they took, the CID took the number and started reaching out to them, but they couldn't. So I was taken to a room at the airport, They kept me there for 5 days. I already had my own. I stayed there for 5 days.
5 days? Is there a toilet? Is there a shower?
It was a room. It was a room.
God, Beatrice.
It was a room, or I don't know. There's a place, I think. It was a room, actually, a room. Then there was a toilet. Then the officers used to be with me there. The lady officer, there was a lady officer who used to bring me food. Then they will come and interrogate me, tell them whom. I mean, they were trying to check if there's anybody who is going to show up, but nobody came. So after there is when they took me to police station. Police station was hectic for me. Hectic for me. It was a very small room. There was an wooden flat bed and a small mattress like this. I remember I slept there for 2 years.
2 years.
Going to court every 2 weeks, coming back.
Beatrice. 2 years.
Going to court, coming back.
And when you go to court, is your case read?
They are read.
Do you understand?
I had a state lawyer. They were speaking English. They were speaking. They are Ghanaians, but they have their own languages. But they were speaking English.
And why
but I
does it
didn't
take
understand
2 years?
anything. It took 2 years because I was trying to fight my case, but I didn't have anybody to stand for me. But I had a state lawyer by then. Then another lawyer came and showed up and said, "Beatrice, I'll walk the journey with you." So the CID, I remember, gave me the phone and told me I should call home. I should get somebody I should trust and call home. But I remember I called my second-most sister and I explained to her. She told me, "What the hell are you doing in Ghana? Beatrice, why?" It was pain because I was the star of the family. My family's life was never the same again. When I called my sister, I explained to her. And I just told her, "Don't tell mom, because if you tell mom and tell dad, I'll finish them." So my sister actually stayed for a year plus without telling my mom that I was in custody in Ghana. But I had 3 CIDs and they followed up my case. After following up my case, nothing came up. The lawyer that we had, I had lawyers who used to show up, and also my family had to look a lawyer for me. But when they sent the money, also the lawyer used to eat the money. They wanted me. The more I am in the police custody, the more they are getting money from my people outside, and me, I am there. So I remember after going to court, even the judge himself said, "Beatrice, you are a very young girl. I don't want to jail you. I don't want to jail you." I remember the judge said so.
What does that mean? They also want a bribe?
No, but then I was small, you know, I was young. The way they look at me, and they said, "Beatrice," I told them, "Yes, I was given the suitcase was brought for me."
For
then
me.
Why did you
take it?
Did you take it? But I was confused, you know, because now I don't have anybody to run to. I don't have anybody to call. I don't have anybody to trust by then because I was deceived by friends. And I also I had that anger that this guy has left me, this guy has, you know, a lot of things came into my mind that up to date, when I recall back, I just tell God to have his way. Every downfall, there's a lifting up.
Wow, Beatrice. So this magistrate doesn't want to jail you. But in
doesn't
the
want
end,
to jail
does he
me.
jail you now?
He jailed me because
He
after
jailed you?
Because after 2 years, after that December 2010, 2011, I was in custody. Then 2011 December, I was taken to prisons. Now prisons was a good place.
First. 2 years you've been in this police station.
In a small police
Karoon,
station,
yes?
Karoon.
So now when he passed judgment.
He didn't pass judgment by
But
then.
he just sent you to the prison.
Myself, I was also feeling like I am going home. I had that faith.
Really?
I am going. The prayers, you know, the prayer I used to pray in the police, in that room, God was telling me, "Beatrice, you are going, you are going, you are going." So after 2 years, we were 3. Me, Kenyan, there was a Nigerian, and there was an American Ghanaian. So we were 3 ladies. So you see, when we stood together and prayed, then
together.
in the night, in the daytime or in the night, the policeman will go and catch people outside and bring them in our room. Now, I used to make those people to become my friends because they also used to feed me when they are released. You know, they will come, stay 2-3 days, be released, then
back,
go home.
they'll remember you.
They will remember me. And also the officers also used to feed us.
Really?
Yes.
They are good officers.
They are good officers. Up to date, they always, even my CIDs, up to date, they always follow up my case.
Really?
Yes, they always call to find out how I am doing. So after that, this 2011.
After 2 years.
After 2 years, that 2011 is when I was sent to prison custody.
Without
being jailed. Yes. Prison
custody
custody is a big place, is open, you are all together there. You can talk to your fellow sisters, you know. It is a free place. And also officers, the communication between us and officers were good in prisons.
In prison.
So when I started, now that January, when I started going to court, so the officers started telling me, Beatrice, just raise your hand. You know, when you continue going to court, you can go to court even 10 years, 20 years.
What do they mean, raise your hand?
Just say you are guilty. My Lord, I'm guilty for...
That's what they're waiting for you to say.
They were trying to advise us because them, they were saying we were in denial. But you know, when I raise my hand and say, my Lord, I'm guilty, I'll be sentenced, serve my jail and go home. But if I don't raise my hand and say, my Lord, I'll still every 2 weeks with that bus, you know, it was tiresome. So April 23rd is when I raised my hand after many of the officers just talked to me, and I think it started sticking into my mind. Then when I see my friends, when they go to court, they are raising their hand and say they are guilty and they are serving sentence and going. So I decided, will I still continue going to this court without saying that I am guilty? So I had to raise my hand, my Lord, I'm guilty. I remember Judge Quist said, Beatrice, I remember you came here when you were a young girl. I am jailing you, go and serve your sentence. Then after, I pleaded, kindly, can you give me the 2 years? That time officers had already talked to me and told me, just raise your hand and plead for the 2 years that you were in police station.
In police station.
So he told me, go and do your serving. Go and serve. He gave me 10 years. Once he gave
you 10 years.
He jailed Pop 10 years.
My God.
After
the same man was saying he didn't want to jail you.
Yes. After he gave me 10 years,
Beatrice.
he told me. After he gave me 10 years, he said, go and serve your sentence. But after you serve your sentence, come and do an appeal. For the 2 years, I'll give you.
After how long? First so first go serve your sentence, then you come back and appeal.
Yes, come and appeal. Then we will consider the 2 years that you were in police station.
Okay.
I remember I served 1 year and some months. Then I started now telling the officer, the madam in charge of prisons, and the officers also, remember Judge told me I should go back and plead for the appeal. For them to remove the 2 years so that I can serve a shorter sentence. I remember when I went doing my appeal, after they considered and remembered, there's one officer who is called...
Beatrice, you have to do the appeal through the officers?
No, I have to do the appeal. They took me to court. They took me to court.
Okay.
It's through the officers who helped me to go back to court. And also Coffee, Dr. Coffee also helped me to do an appeal, because by then they had already started coming to visit us. And because by then I was working as an office girl, and when Coffee saw me, he heard my story, because by then I was a chaplain in the church also. I'm the one who was leading the church there.
You have found God there. You know that
I found God.
It must be very hard to find God there.
God is in prison, I always tell people. And it's not everybody who goes to prison because of what you've done. Many go there so that you can have a good relationship with God. Me, I used to see God
Beatrice.
with my own eyes. God will speak. Beatrice, you are free. Now that is another story. So when I went to court, Osei Kusi helped me. When I went to court, my court file went missing. They couldn't get my court file completely. Up to date, I don't know where my court file went.
But how did they release you?
I had to finish
Beatrice,
my jail.
your story. You had to finish all the 10 years.
I finished 9 years. I've had to finish 9 years.
And you know, when you say it like that, Beatrice, jail here is something else. And in Ghana now, is it better than here?
Well, what will I say? Jail is jail. It's
no
difficult.
Freedom.
No freedom. No freedom. You follow the rules. I actually wrote all the rules in my book. This is my 30th book. I used to write a lot in the night.
This is your 30th journal?
I have written a lot of books.
I want to read this, but 30 journals?
30, yes, I used to write. Every night I'll give myself from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. It was my time of prayer. It was my
12
time
to
of
4.
12 to 4
in
the
jail.
Night. In the night.
Beatrice, na kuna watu hapa nje, they cannot pray. 12 to 4.
I fasted for 40 days in prison. They wanted to lock me in because they thought I wanted to kill myself.
Yourself.
But I never wanted. That is when I came to see God. That is when Coffee also came into my life. And
first of all, Ebu share with us slowly this was before time the meeting, but the days Coffee came, Ebu, because that testimony makes me so happy.
The day Coffee came is they started coming to visit us as a church Anytime
with
visitors
his church.
with his team, when they came, by then I was the one leading the service.
The church
actually,
service. And you're Kenyan, Ghanaian. Which songs are you singing? I have so many questions.
I sing a lot of Ghanaian songs.
Really?
And I came with the name Kenyan Pastor. Even the day I was going, people were saying, Kenyan Pastor is going. Who will be praying for us? I told them, God, I'm leaving God for you. It was painful when I was leaving, actually, I remember.
It is now painful to leave?
To leave, yeah, because they don't want me to go. I told them,
even you were saying it's painful.
It was painful leaving them there. I never wanted to leave my people there. But up to today, I keep on checking on them and I'm journeying with them. God is a faithful God. And I think when you allow just God to use you, he does. Because me, I saw God in prison. I used to hear voices. Beatrice, you are free. I used to see angels. They're very beautiful. I used to see doves at the corner of the room, white angels.
If there's a place I know people pray, even the prison,
They used to, God speaks. When you allow God to speak for you, you really hear the voice of God. Because me, I had the voice of God in prison. I had, Beatrice, you are free. I'll be praying for people. When they go to prison, they will be released and me, I'm still there. So when they come back, you are leaving me here and I'm the one who prayed for you.
Imagine.
They tell me your time will come, Beatrice. So when I started asking God, God, what is this voice that I am hearing, that I am free? God told me, Beatrice, you are free in spirit. That is when I
free in your spirit, even if your physical body has been jailed.
Has been jailed, but my spirit is free. So that is when I started now finding favor with them, with God and the officers.
Really? And that's Luke 2:52. Yes. You found favor with God and the officers.
Yes. I used to, Madam Officer in charge used to feed me. They used to bring food from their house and feed me.
The judge?
Oh, I see. The officer in charge of prisons, Madam Charity. She used to call me, come and talk to your family.
Who is your family?
My sister, my family here now. Come and call your family.
Come and call them in Nairobi.
Come and call them, find out what they are doing.
Finally, Mom found out you're in jail.
Finally, after a year or two, is when my sister broke the news to Mom. Because my mom was like, why
where
doesn't...
is she?
My mom is in Muranga.
No, I'm saying she's not asking where you are.
She was asking because, you know, after some time I used to send money home for her keep up. But it came a time now I never used to send money.
Because now you're locked up.
I'm locked up. So my sister had to tell her Beatrice is in prison. So it was a big fight even when I landed to Kenya. Why did I go to prison and she didn't know the very day? Because my sister is like, she had to protect her. Protect her and my dad. But if she didn't do that, I don't know, I could be talking another story because right now I'm seeing my mom at 75 and my dad at 82 years now.
Amen.
Yes. Prison, I always say prison, if anybody can find herself in prison.
That's the thing. That one scares me.
It's not for special people.
It's not for special people.
No.
That's a good thing.
Anybody.
That you're saying, because people need to know anyone can find themselves in prison.
Yes.
There's even a time I had, I think, a leader in the prisons found himself inside.
That is the thing.
He was the one leading, he found himself inside.
That is the thing.
So prison is something, please, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be very careful about the things you do, because even the prison stories we've had, mtu aliwachiwa funguo 30 minutes, and people have planned for you. You have to be very careful what you see, what you sign. You cannot carry anything for anybody else. You know, one day when my daughter did it, I almost beat her physically. I told her to never carry anything for anyone. She carried to do. I was like, my God, don't you listen? Don't carry anything for anyone. I don't carry anything for anyone. But anyway, and how was it? Is it as clean as here? Because you know now you've seen the two. Was Ghana cleaner?
Prisons are clean, and I would say, because that is where we learn clean. When you are clean, you are close to God. So we used to wake up, you sweep the gutters, you clean the compound. Everybody had a duty.
Yeah.
Everybody had. So by then, I remember I worked at the stores also. I used to, any visitors that comes in, and now that is what God has called me at Clean Start. Yeah. Any visitors that comes in, we will welcome them. We will take whatever they brought for us.
For the prisoners.
Then we will, every Friday, I remember every 2 weeks Friday, we used to share to our
all the fellow prisoners.
Together with the officers, because I remember the officer who took me at stores, she was called Beatrice like me. So to me, Beatrice, you are Beatrice like me, you have to come and work for me at the stores. So I actually found favor in prison.
Beatrice, you know, it sounds like an oxymoron, but I can see it. You found favor in prison.
Up to date, Madam Charity follows me, the officer in charge. The 3 CIDs, they keep on calling. Now they know I am working with Clean Start, and we are looking forward to go to Ghana and do exploits there.
So can you travel? Because now, okay, so you were jailed in Ghana. So
jailed.
here, do you have a certificate of good conduct, a passport, and all those things?
Here, I was given the certificate of good conduct because my crime was in another nation. And to God be the glory, Madam Charity wrote.
So she wrote you a very amazing commendation, so you can carry it everywhere. A testimonial of Beatrice Wahura.
Yes.
Oh, wow. They say that you've diligently served for 8 years, 11 months, they even say 22 days. Yes. Oh my God. And without any act of misconduct. You've successfully gone through the reformation and rehabilitation process of this outfit and has reformed beyond imagination. Oh, Beatrice, even I could cry. You are a student, you went to the Bible school, and you obtained a certificate and a diploma. And this outfit, like they say they called it this outfit, was pleasantly surprised of how she gradually became an outstanding evangelist, preaching the word of God to her fellow inmates and even the officers she came into contact with. Wow, you're a peer educator of the Planned Parenthood Association, and her passion, commitment, and devotion to educating and counseling her peers on HIV, AIDS, and TB was commendable. Respect for authority and discipline was her hallmark. And for this reason, she was awarded the most disciplined inmate in 2017. You worked diligently as an office girl under 3 officers, oh my God, without exhibiting an iota of indiscipline. Beatrice, without oh my God. You were smart, respectful, humble, and a hardworking office girl who performed credibly. They say they are proud of your sterling performance over the period. And you know, you can imagine, sterling performance over a confinement. They say they are, I love this. Do we get letters like this here? They are confident of the fact that we have discharged an inmate who is God-fearing, industrious, respectful, and disciplined. She's a lady of integrity who will definitely be an asset in any organization she finds herself in. I therefore wholeheartedly recommend her to any organization for employment. My God, Beatrice. You went there to become a model person.
That is it.
A model human being.
That is it. Beatrice. That is it. And also I came with a whole suitcase of books. 2016 I wrote my vision, and now this is what I am doing with Clean Start. This is my vision, and truly I can't take it for granted. We are told, write your vision. It may tarry, but it will surely come, because now mine is coming to pass.
You can see.
Yeah.
Working with the street children, with the women, with the prisons, with the hospitals, campaign for the poor. This is amazing.
That is what I am doing. We'll get a God-fearing man, and through the prayer we came and prayed for the ladies that are looking for husbands.
We must be married.
We must be married. God gave me somebody.
God gave her husband. She's one of the people, for we must be married.
A God-fearing man. Yes. Fully God-fearing man.
I know.
Fully.
By the way, to go back just a bit, wale watu wa the Ghanaian and the Ugandan, did you ever see them ever again for Turkey?
The Ghanaian and the Nigerian guy.
The Ghanaian and Nigerian.
We never met again.
Ever?
The lady, when I was almost coming to finish my imprisonment, the lady came and visited me.
Where?
In prisons. And I asked her, I actually never wanted to see her, but the officers begged me, just let her come in, just let her see what God has done for you. When she came is when I asked her in front of the officers, you know, once they visit you, the officers are out there, when you are talking is open, there is nothing to hide there. I told her, is this the time you are coming to see me after you ran away from me? I stayed in prison by myself. Then she was like, no, a lot of things happened to her, and she couldn't come by then. But right now, the lady is late. She's no more. Immediately she passed on. Immediately when I came out of prison is when I was called by a friend of mine in Turkey, and she was like, oh, Gifty is no more. She had a head tumor and she was got to glory. I said, oh, may she rest in peace. And the guy I now don't know where she went.
Rest in peace indeed.
And I am, what will I say? I can't regret, because I know God has used me in many ways. And God is using me in mightier way also. Right now I am working with Clean Start Africa. And we recently moved to Kiambu County at Ridgeways. And
you do the same thing. You do do you receive the gifts?
I still receive
and distribute them?
And distribute them to our fellow sisters. So my position at Clean Start is in-kind donations. And we normally look for well-wishers, partners who can partner with us to also make our sisters continue their lives smoothly once they come out of prison. Those who are coming to restart life, because once you are in prison and come out, everything is lost. You have to restart life again. Like for me, I lost everything. When I came home,
you even left it in Turkey.
Everything, I left it in Turkey. So I came home like with my books, a whole suitcase of books, and the clothes that officers bought for me to come and restart life again back home.
Wow, Beatrice, we're out of time, so you have to give me your parting shot.
Yes.
What do you want people? What do you want to tell? Look into that camera, and what do you want to tell someone or anything that comes to your spirit?
What I would tell people out there is just accept yourself to be used by God.
Really?
You always know that you're not walking by yourself. There's the Spirit of God is real. God is real himself. Just allow that voice of God to linger in your life and move smoothly with God. Once you interact yourself with God, God will use you mightily. And another thing I would say is we love visitors. Clean Start, we love visitors.
So they come and visit.
Come and visit.
And then remember to visit the prisoners as well.
Also remember our sisters back in prison, our brothers too. We always remember them. Remember them, because most of our people are in prison because of the things that they've not done, or because of the things that has been input into them. So believe that everyone who is in prison needs you.
Yeah.
Needs you. Just,
they need you.
Yeah, they need you. If you can't go, or if you're afraid of going to prisons,
send someone.
Just send someone
or
to
go
go
to Clean Start.
Or come to Clean Start. We will embrace you with a full heart, open heart.
And they'll go for you.
And we will go for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only last thing, I've been saying last thing for long, but I wanted to know, did you ever feel anything, like when you're going to get that, did you ever feel on the way? Or maybe that's why, did you ever feel like, don't do this? And then just, you know how you can feel as a human being, like, don't do this? And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, did you know God before then, or you've known God in prison?
Before then, I knew God, but I wasn't that fully into God. And actually, before I even went to the airport, I went to my house for 5 times, asking myself, what is taking me back to the house? Already the Spirit of God was convicting me.
This is in Nigeria? In Ghana? In Turkey. You kept going back to your house?
I kept going back to my house for 5 times, asking myself,
where am I going?
Should I take a train? Should I take a bus? Should I take a taxi to take me to prisons? Because I still had time to go to the airport. Sorry. I still had time to go to the airport. So I was asking myself, what is taking me back to the house? So
there's something is telling you keep going back to the house. It's like you're anxious.
Yes, the Spirit, actually, I always tell my people, the Spirit of God was pushing me back not to go.
Not to go.
But since I proved stubborn, that is why I found myself where I found myself in. Yes, I went to my house. I remember I went to my house 5 times. I was going rounding in the house, and the house actually was empty by then because I had just moved to a new house. So I went rounding
that
to the
feeling.
house.
I can feel it. How you go back, you don't know why you're going back. You're looking confused. You're going round, but the Spirit of God is trying to tell you, do not go.
Yes, the Spirit of God was speaking to me. I remember I had these photos that they normally sell on the streets here in Nairobi. That big picture of drawn Jesus, you know. So that one was I already stuck it on the wall. So I was going and standing there looking at the photo, rounding in the house. But due to I proved stubborn and I went to the airport. I didn't go back to Turkey up to date.
But one of the greatest things, I think,
yes,
from listening to your story is you found God. And you found God, you found your passion, you found your quietness, you found that I can be imprisoned and still write 30 journals,
yes,
still pray to God from 12 to 4. I can still do what I want to do. I mean, that's just, I can build relationships with people. I don't have to be bitter. You know, because sometimes I watched a documentary on prison, and they said some people don't even get out of bed. They never shower, they never eat because you cannot believe you're here. But you look like you created a vibrant community and you were awake and alive in the prison, and that's a good thing.
When I came back to Kenya 2018, December 23rd, it was Christmas time, getting to Christmas Day, like 2 days to Christmas. When we had a family gathering, I think my mom was just, the family was just wanted to listen to me. So I was talking things of God, you know what God has done. But then they couldn't understand me. But after Christmas, you know, everybody's busy now going back to their own businesses. That is when I felt now, yes, I am alone.
Last question, do they bring you back in handcuffs?
Back in, when you're going?
When you're coming back to Kenya?
No, I came as a free. I was escorted by Coffee up to the airport.
Okay.
Yes, Coffee escorted me up to the.
Coffee.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Hey,
so I stayed for 2 years. I stayed in the house 2019 and 2020. I never wanted any friend, anybody to do with a word friend. It was no go zone. I stayed with...
Yeah, because look what your friends have put you into.
I was moving to my sister's house, to my mom's 3 months. I see my mom is like, she's like, I am pressing her. Like, she's thinking a lot about me. Like, now she's thinking that I am lost. Then I move out of Muranga, come to another sister. I am the 5th born of the family. We are 8. So I'll just be moving out of my brother and my sister's houses. Then I came a time now when I stayed with my auntie in Buruburu for 2 years now. To get into the end of 2 years is when I saw Teresa giving her story. So immediately I told my uncle, please don't turn. I remember I was giving my uncle what I told, don't turn that channel. So immediately, quickly I took Teresa's number. So I started journeying with them.
The rest is history.
So now that
we have to stop now.
Yes, thank you.
But hey, Just Angie family, we'll give you Beatrice's contacts, her emails, her phone numbers, her Instagram handle, how you can reach her, and you'll be able to reach her, continue this conversation. But I feel like, please enlighten and empower people to see the light and to understand that life can change in 1 minute just by one wrong decision. So you've got to really think through decisions. You've got to seek godly counsel, and there are no shortcuts to creating wealth. Create it the long way. God bless. Bye.